All right, you guys, so I wanted to get you up another video on a topic that I really enjoy. Not only am I a huge 2A advocate, not only am I a huge firearms collector, but I also am a huge proponent in using the right tool for the right job. To me, it's essential to have multiple tools that you can utilize in different situations or different roles. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about varmint hunting. And specifically, I wanted to talk to you guys about coyote hunting. So here in Northeast Ohio, coyote is a problem. This was the first rifle that I ever purchased to use for coyote hunting. It is your normal AR-15 platformed rifle. This is a Wyndham Weaponry H-bar. So it's the heavy barreled, chrome lined 5.56. It'll shoot 5.56 or 2.23. And when I first bought this rifle, it had a quick detach carry handle. Only took me about a week before I switched that out. So I took that carry handle off. I ended up mounting a 4-12 scope on here. The 4-12 scope was absolutely amazing for what I was using it for. Hunting coyote 4-12 is perfect, but it kind of took away from this rifle itself. So I wanted to switch this rifle up after using it for coyote because I noticed a couple downfalls. So let me talk about the pros first. Very short. It's a 16-inch barrel. It has a really nice muzzle brake flash hider on it. This one's from Strike Industries. It is their King Comp. Absolutely amazing for staying on target in your follow-up shots. This rifle here has almost no recoil. I did switch out the buffer, so it came with a normal carbine buffer weight. I switched it out for an H2 buffer weight. It was the heaviest weight I could get to still run this and cycle it reliably. So that's what I went with. I ended up taking that 4-12 off, and I ended up putting a Daniel Defense fixed rear sight. This does have the fixed front sight on it, which I'm a huge proponent of. And then I threw just a regular Sig Sauer Romeo 5 red dot on. I love them. They're bomb proof. I've had 8 or 9 of them and I can't kill them. The batteries last forever. They have the shake awake feature. Every year on my birthday I switch out the batteries and they last a whole year. I know they're rated for like 5, but just something I do to keep myself prepared. I did drop a single stage 3-pound trigger in this because of what I was using it for. So this is a very tight package. You can bring this, carry it in the woods with you, and you won't have a problem carrying this around all day. I really like this setup for fast, convenient follow-up shots. The only problem is when you are hunting a coyote with a 2.23, you have to be extremely precise, because if not, you will be taking another 1 or 2 follow-up shots. So this was the first platform I decided to try with coyote hunting. I really liked the fast follow-up shots, but I didn't like that you are kind of limited with accuracy. This gun is about 1.25 inches MOA, 100 yards, grouping about 1.25 inches, which is good for coyote until you get to about 300 yards. Any one of you that have hunted coyote, you know 100% your shots are going to be 200 to 300 yards. It's very hard to call them in closer than 100 yards. 100 yards and in, this will be my go-to every time. But being an ethical hunter and wanting to take them down in the most effective way, I had to step my game up. So I'll show you another option, something I added to my collection specifically for coyote. So the second rifle that I added to my collection specifically for coyote, and I'll discuss some of the features and benefits of this rifle itself. So this has an illuminated reticle scope on it. This is not the best scope. It's about $100 scope. I don't even remember the name of it. Budget optic rings. So this was a extreme budget build that I wanted to do just for getting out into the woods and taking some longer shots at a coyote. So this is a 3 to 9 scope. This thing is extremely effective out to about 300 yards. There's a bullet drop compensator in this reticle, which is amazing for the shots I was taking at the distance I was taking them. I sighted this rifle in at 100 yards and my first line down is 300. So I lived within those first two hash marks on this reticle itself. This rifle was a lot more accurate. So this is shooting right at 1 MOA, so 1-inch groups at 100 yards. It's a little bit tighter than that at 3. I'm shooting about a 2-inch group at 300 yards with it with good ammo. I'm also running a higher grained round. So the AR-15 that I had set up, I was primarily shooting 55 grain and lower projectiles out of that. They were varmint rounds. With this, I'm shooting something a little heavier. I'm going with a 69 grain or a 77 grain out of this, and it's absolutely accurate and it drops them very quick. With the scope setup on here, I can take headshots out to 200 yards. Very well placed torso shots at 300. That's what I went for. This also has a threaded barrel on it, which was extremely important to me in case I want to put a can on this and be a little quieter out in the field. I don't hunt at night. I'm probably going to start getting into that for varmint, specifically coyote. But again, you're limited with the 223 round. You have to be very well placed on your shot or you're not gonna drop a coyote. If you miss the vitals by a 1/4 inch, and I mean vitals are tiny on a coyote, you're talking something like this on their torso at 300 yards, that's about the maximum effective group that I can get out of this platform. This is the Ruger American Barrel. It is a bolt action, and it has one of the best features about it is it takes a detachable AR style magazine. So you could run a 30 round mag, you could run one of these 5 round magazines, a 10 round magazine, or a 20 round magazine. So that was something that I really appreciated about this rifle because I have so many of them AR-15 style magazines that I can switch between. So I believe this one in here is a 10 round. That's primarily what I use in it. The only reason why I wouldn't give this rifle here a 10 out of 10 for coyote hunting is because the bolt is not that smooth. The problem is your follow-up shots take a little bit longer, and this bolt has a little bit of drag. It's just a little bit of grit you could feel in it, but this is also a budget option in the hunting category. So you're kind of limited there. You pick and choose. It does have the adjustable trigger on it, which was a huge bonus, a huge reason why I picked this up. It has that blade in here, and this is fully adjustable. So you can really adjust this down to be a hair trigger and to be a really, really smooth. Now, as I started progressing even more and getting more into hunting and wanting something that can reach out a little further, like I said, it's hard to get them in closer than 100 yards here in Ohio. If you're stretching out 200 to 300 yards, this is a great setup. I highly recommend this to anybody who's only gonna stretch out to 300. But the next rifle that I set up for coyote was kind of the pinnacle. So I wanted to stay with 223 and I wanted to stay with 5.56 when I first started, just because I was not shooting that far and I had this grand vision that I was gonna skin them, I was gonna keep the pelts, I was gonna sell them. So I didn't want a lot of bullet damage on the fur itself. So Once I got over that and I got realistic with what was actually going on, I stepped my game up considerably. So this is a Bergara. This is the B14 HMR. This has a fully adjustable comb here on the stock, so I can lift this up. Also has fully adjustable length of pull. You can remove these. There's 3 different lengths in here right now, which is set up perfect for me. You can remove those. You can set that up as long or as short as you want. This also has an AIC style magazine. So this will take like your AR-10 style magazines. This right here is a PMag. It is specifically for the 6.5, and this is a 5-round magazine. I don't need to hunt with anything more than that with this 6.5 Creedmoor, because this 6.5 Creedmoor will reach out easily over 1,200 meters without any hesitation. So I stepped my game up on the rings, so I wanted to get something that would give me a little bit more range. So as you can see, even the scope mount itself is set up to give me some extra MOA so I could stretch it out further. I am running on this. It is a 4 to 18 powered scope. Absolutely essential for taking shots between 300 to 500 yards, which is the furthest I'm going to shoot at a coyote with this gun. This rifle itself, threaded barrel on this one, comes with QD mounts on the receiver on both sides. Also has some QD mounts on the stock itself. This rifle is hands down ultra premium. The bolt cycles smoother than glass. It's one of the smoothest bolt action rifles I have ever fired in my life. With this scope and the combination and where I have it sighted in, this is sighted in at 200 yards. I only shoot this between 200 to 600 yards. I'm not taking any shots any closer than that. That's not what this is for. But the 6.5, if I use the right projectiles, will go exactly where I need them to go, and I can still preserve that pelt. I also have a 22-250 that I set up specifically for coyote that has a Nikon 4 to 12 on it, which is what I would use for about a 400 yard rifle. Like I said, multiple tools, multiple situations. The 22-250 is more lethal than the 223, reaches out a lot further, and it is extremely flat shooting. The 6.5 Creedmoor reaches out to 600 yards for me, pinpointing 3/4 of an inch MOA to 1/2 inch MOA out of this rifle. This is the ultimate setup for me. This is what I will take every time. The only sacrifice is that this is a heavier rifle. This rifle is coming in the way that it is set up right now at 10 pounds. I do not have a bipod on this, so I have a sling that I will use to steady myself if I can't find a tree or something like that to steady myself on. I can't speak any higher about the Bergara system. This is one of the smoothest, most accurate rifles that I've ever shot in my life. And if you are in the market, if you're looking to get yourself into a hunting setup that is capable of taking down elk, capable of taking down moose, deer, black bear, brown bear, coyote, groundhogs, this 6.5 Creedmoor will take down anything on the North American continent, and it will do that with extreme pinpoint accuracy. So I just wanted to show you guys the 3 main coyote rifles that I have here. I do have one more, like I mentioned, that 22-250, but I use that primarily for groundhogs. I used it for coyote a couple times, but these were the 3 guns that I set up exactly for coyote hunting. So I wanted to show them to you. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what caliber and which rifle that you prefer. The 6.5 Creedmoor is extremely flat shooting. It's extremely fast. I have 308s, I have 300 Win Mags, but the 6.5 for me will drop a coyote one shot right where it's at. You don't have to really get super precise on the vitals because the round has that much energy. So this is hands down the one that I would choose. The other rifles were kind of ones that I set up on a mission. This was what I wanted for the cream of the crop, the top of the line. The Ruger American Predator was a budget bolt gun setup that I wanted to get, and specifically set up to be the cheapest gun that I can set up for Coyote. So price wise, as of right now, the Bergara, you could find these for about $1,000 for the rifle. The sight on here is a Citadel. It's a 4-18. It's about a $500 optic at the time right now. It is also illuminated as well, but also is a first focal plane. Also has the giant sunscreen on it and a larger tube diameter. So this whole setup right here, I have about $1,600 into. The Ruger American Predator, this as a budget build, I ended up getting the rifle on the secondary market. So this rifle itself ended up costing me about $350 because I bought it used. It's only shot a handful of times. I picked it up for $350. The scope and rings on it together, $100. So I had $450 into this rifle, the way that it sits. So that was super cheap for me to get into, and I wanted that precision. Now, the Wyndham weaponry was kind of in between. So this was the first AR-15 that I ever purchased. And when I bought this rifle, I wanted it to fill a variety of roles. So right now, as you can see it is primarily set up as a defensive rifle. When it had the scope on it, we were talking $750 for the rifle at the time that I purchased it during the Obama administration. I believe they're up a little bit above that now. The red dot got for $130. The rear fixed sight, $100. I probably have, with the trigger and the bolt, I probably have about $1,000 into this rifle itself. So this kind of falls in between the pricing on the other two, but as I can say, hands down, I would choose the Bergara over any other rifle. And if I only had one choice and one rifle that I could choose to fill a variety of roles, it would be this Bergara, just because you can take this hunting anywhere in North America. You could take this rifle hunting in Canada. You can take brown bear, black bear, like I mentioned, any game in North America, and still take small varmint sized prey as well. So thank you guys for watching the video. If you like the video, click subscribe, click like on this video, and feel free to leave a comment down below. I really want to know, if you guys coyote hunt, what are you running? What caliber do you prefer? And in which situations do you find you need a different rifle? So thank you guys again. Hope you have a great rest of your